So in the last unit, we considered political philosophy. Specifically, we considered two questions. One, why should we have any government rather than none at all? And two, what particular kind of government should we have, supposing we should have one? In the previous section, we considered moral philosophy. There, we also explored two questions. One, uh, what makes the case that there are moral truths at all? And two, what are the particular moral truths in the general sense? That is, what are the most general moral rules or principles? In the section before that, we explored epistemology, considering questions such as what makes a belief reasonable? How ought one form beliefs? And prior to that, we looked at the various branches of philosophy. We're now on to the final branch, which is metaphysics. That is the final branch that we had identified, which is metaphysics. Metaphysics considers, if you recall, what exists fundamentally and how everything else that might exist relates to what exists fundamentally. Put another way, it explores the most basic constituents of the universe and the most basic structure of the universe. There's a variety of particular issues that people explore when considering metaphysics. We're going to focus on two. First, we're going to explore personal identity. And second, we're going to explore the nature of reality. So let's dive in and start talking about personal identity. First up, we'll talk about what the issue is, that is, what the topic of personal identity is. Then we'll look at a couple of theories about personal identity. First, we'll look at one according to which you are your mind. Second, we'll look at one according to which you are your body. And then we'll look at a particular version of the view that you are your mind that comes from a philosopher named Derek Parfit. We give that theory special attention because it's especially interesting. Finally, we'll look at a theory you might call soul theory, which holds that you are your soul. Okay, so first up, what is the issue? What are we talking about when we talk about personal identity? Well, to understand this, you need to distinguish between two kinds of identity, what's called qualitative identity and what's called quantitative identity. So look at these two blocks of ice. We can ask the following question. Are these the same kind of thing? And the answer to that seems to be yes, they are the same kind of thing. Notice we can ask this question at a single moment in time. So we look at a particular time, which I'm calling time one. So this is a particular moment, and we can look at two blocks at that particular moment and ask, are they the same kind of block? Of course, we can look at one block at one time and another block at another time and ask the same question, are they the same kind? But what I want you to see is there can be distinct blocks at a single moment, and we can ask of them, are they identical in kind? That's qualitative identity. Next up is quantitative identity, also known as numerical identity. Here, we're not asking about two individuals at a single time. Instead, we're asking about an individual at one time and an individual at another time. And we're not asking of these individuals, are they the same kind of individual? We're asking, are they the same particular individual? So we can ask of the block of ice at time one and the block of ice at time two, are they the same particular block of ice? Are they the same individual? One way to think about this is in terms of names. Names often pick out, or maybe necessarily pick out, individuals. So if we name the block of ice at time one, I don't know, Coldy, we can ask at time two, is that block Coldy or just one that looks like Coldy? When we talk about personal identity in this class, and more generally metaphysicians are interested in quantitative identity. That is, we want to know of an individual, is that individual at time one the same as some individual at time two? And we also want to know why. That is, what does it take for an individual to persist from time one to time two? And I just mentioned the word persist. Now we'll talk a little bit about persistence. So we can ask, what is necessary and sufficient for a past or future being to be you? What is required for you to survive? And what we want when we give the requirements for you to survive, or when we say what is necessary and sufficient for a past or future person to be you, is a statement of the following form. It says a person at one time is the same person, that is the same particular individual, as a person at another time, if and only if, that is, for all x and y, x at time one is identical with y at time two, if and only if, and then we say what makes them identical. One way to think about this is as follows. There's a lot of things that have changed since the start of the semester, including various aspects of you. Some of you are freshmen in college. This was your first year, I guess your second semester, but your first year here. You're probably going through rather drastic changes. Changes in personality, changes in body composition. You're perhaps still growing. Here's a serious question. Are you the same person? And by the same person, I mean literally the same individual as the one who began the semester in this class. Think of it like this. Does the name, whatever your name is, so my name is Stephen Biggs, does the name Stephen Biggs, which referred to me at the beginning of the semester, still refer to me at the end? Or is it just like a different name that sounds the same because it's not really the same person? Okay, next time we're going to look at mind theory, which is one attempt to offer an account of what makes a person persist through time, what makes a person be the person that she is.